does this video even need an introduction? We're talking about the Kanye West documentary on Netflix, Jeen. Yes, guys, I have been listening through The Wire on repeat for the past literally 2 weeks, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. When I say inspiring, great insight, I am ready to get into this. I'm ready to give Kanye his flowers. I'm ready to talk about what I got out of it. So let's get into it. Everybody, what's up? I'm Kayla Lyons. This is Coffee with Kay. Thanks so much for joining me for another energy-packed episode, guys. Well, we're talking about Kanye West. Y'all, if you have not watched the documentary on Netflix about his life, >jēnyəs, I will tell you that was one of the most emotional documentaries that I have ever watched. Partially because I am in a season where his testimony really just resonated with me, and the other side because knowing where he come from and how hard he grinds, it's easy to judge somebody when you don't have understanding and when you don't have context as to where something comes from. But now that he has given us context, I respect him as an artist, even though I already respected him in a whole new way. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. This is kind of gonna spoil some of the details for you, but if you have watched it, let's go ahead and get into it, honey. The first point that I got from it is being hidden in plain sight is so frustrating. And when I say hidden in plain sight, it is when you are aware of the greatness that you have, that you possess, and when you know that God has called you to do something far greater. However, the time in which you are aware of your greatness and God's yes, God's approval saying, okay, go, now is the time, they have not collided yet. They have not met yet. So you're in this space where you know you're supposed to be great, but the opportunity that you want has not came just yet. We all, to some degree, have thought if they just saw me for who I was, or if they just gave me a chance. And so it's just so frustrating to know what you can do, know your capabilities, and not just have a knowing, but be able to back it up. And still, God is like, now is not the time. And there is a season in your life where sometimes you think you're ready, but you're not as ready as you thought you once were. There are certain seasons and situations in your life where God has put something down in you, but it's just not the right time. And it's not even sometimes your fault. Sometimes you can be absolutely ready, but the environment to which God is going to have you walk in needs to change before you get there. Because when we ask God or come to God with a problem, he doesn't just continue to talk to us. He says, okay, let me fix it. And he goes behind the scenes and moving things like chess pieces so that things will work in your favor. And waiting is never fun. Sometimes we like, oh, okay, I don't care how it is, just give me my blessing. And to all of the people who are talented, who have this great idea, whether you're creative in corporate America, in journalism, or in any other field, and you're just waiting for somebody to hear your idea. If it is a God idea, that time will always come to pass, because whatever God spoke to you has to come to pass. He's not a liar. So just hold on. Number 2 is the world respected Kanye because Kanye respected himself, honey. Self-love is great, and I think that self-love is amazing. You all need it. I need it. You need it, because self-love will allow you to see yourself as you should. However, self-respect is different, because self-respect comes in and says, even when I don't want to do the task that will get me to where I need to be, I respect myself enough not to let myself sit here. Even when I want to skip the gym and just eat a burger, I know that if I have certain health issues, I respect myself enough and I respect what God made enough to go to the gym, because I know that is the best thing for myself. So self-respect is something that can be independent of how you feel. Self-respect is not putting yourself in situations that you know is not the best for you at that time. Respect is independent from your emotions. And Kanye, if you think about it and look at that documentary, has always held himself in high regard. He never said anything that he couldn't back up or felt like he could back up and justify throughout his work. And I think that is so important, because a lot of times we think that, oh my gosh, you have to give respect to get respect. But honestly, you have to give respect to yourself first before you can even feel comfortable having somebody respect you. Which leads me into the next point. When people don't believe in you, baby, give them something to believe in. Through the documentary, it highlighted how Kanye took $30,000+ of his own money to make a music video and to record a song that he knew was going to be a hit, and to tell his story his way. Even when the record label Rockefeller at the time was not giving him money to do so himself. That one decision has paid dividends ever since, and people are still streaming that song to this day because he put it out there. He knew he had a knowing. oftentimes there will be people who will not believe in your vision, and they won't believe in it, not necessarily because they don't think that you can do it, but because God didn't give the conviction to carry that vision out to them. He gave it to you. So to those who are called to be world changers and God-given ideas were given to you so that you could affect millions of people, don't expect a whole lot of people to come on board with your idea at first, because, and it's so true, a lot of people won't get the recognition they deserve until it is popular to believe in you, and until it is popular to patronize the things that you create. This goes out to all my small business owners or anything like that. I know it can be so hard to sometimes look around and be like, why aren't you patronizing my business? Why aren't you supporting me? X, Y, and Z. But we have to be okay with people not supporting us until it is popular too, because our success is not contingent upon their support. God will send people into your life to support you, and all it takes is just a handful of people, or one other person in this case, who believes in your vision and you to drive that thing on out. So if you do not have the support that you want on an idea, honey, believe it and create anyway. Do not let the applause of other people or lack thereof keep you from creating what you know you are called to do and who you are called to be. My next takeaway was, everybody asked to be the next Ye. However, no one asked for the struggles that it took to become who he is right now. As we watch this documentary was shot over the span of like 20 years, 20 plus years. And I know it is easy to watch a 7-hour documentary and think that he got from one place to another in 7 hours, but that is just not the case. Over the course of 20 years, he spent years in isolation, years by himself, believing in himself and having to talk to himself and convince himself, don't listen to them, you are greater than that. He spent years waiting to be on a label and be recognized as a rapper instead of just a producer. There's a feeling like he was still in obscurity. And if you get my drift, we may watch this 7-hour documentary and see how Ye became Ye. However, be careful what you ask for and be careful who you idolize, because some of you are asking to be the next Kanye. However, you don't have the patience, nor the discipline, nor the determination that it takes to hear the word no and still in your head confirm the word yes to get to that point. So if you are praying for something that you are not prepared for, becoming will crush you, because you have to become the person that it takes to handle the weight of what you ask God for. And I don't think a lot of times when we ask God for things, we consider the weight of it. And that is why sometimes things take longer than we thought. I'm sure that Kanye wanted to be Ye within the next 5 years of his career. And when he got out to New York, he thought, yeah, now this is it. And I'm sure he would have liked to get it like that. But to be able to carry the weight of being a cultural influencer, God had to prune him and mold him into a person that could handle all of that. And that is definitely one downside to social media, because lots of times we see these beautiful pictures and these gilded realities of who people are, or of a person in their prime, and as I like to call it, their fourth quarter, not knowing what first, second, and third quarters look like. So the next time you are idolizing somebody, or the next time you look at somebody and you feel a little bit of envy for what they have, consider that and run your race. Next, I want to talk about being overly confident. I think a lot of times we've gotten a negative perception of what humble means. So many people think that humble means, oh, I'm not going to say what I do because I don't want people to feel intimidated, or I'm going to play small because I don't want to make them feel bad about where they are. That is not what being humble means. That is selling yourself short. Being humble does not mean selling yourself short and showing up to places and playing small. Being humble knows that you did not get there by yourself, and knowing the God that gave you the gifts for you to be able to produce on the level that you produce and do the things you do how you do it. Confidence is the same way. And if we think about it, most of us are not confident because we have not practiced enough to know that we know that we know who we are and our capability. And also, most of us haven't spent enough time with the Creator so that He can reinforce what He put in you, what He made you for, what He put down on the inside of you to let the earth and the world hear. And so instead of pulling out of the reserve of who God said you were and of the work that you put in to get here, you look to outside people for validation on what God already validated you on the inside for. And yes, do I think at times Kanye comes off a little bit cocky? Absolutely. He definitely comes off very strong. He definitely sometimes comes off no BS, which I don't think is a lie. However, I just want you guys for a minute to put yourself in his shoes. A lot of times people hear the word no and they break down, and we stop, and we automatically just a switch goes off and we start questioning our abilities or what God told us to do. In the entertainment industry or in any any industry at all, you will have people tell you no and will tell you that you cannot do something. So overconfidence in that scenario was not cockiness, it was a survival tactic. If he was not confident in himself, who was gonna be confident in his abilities? Not the people that were rapping that he wouldn't be anything. If he wasn't confident in himself and in his abilities, how the heck could he have advocated for himself in those high places and sit in front of people that have literally changed the rap game and be able to be like, hey, let me rap for you real quick? And not just rap for you, but have the beat that I've already created for this specific moment because I knew it was going to come. So I was already prepared for this moment. And that is another reason that preparation is so important, because confidence is easier to grab when you are prepared for wherever you are going or whatever you are going to be doing, not just spiritually, but physically as well. Now, cockiness comes when you forget who gave you the blessings, when you think that you have done everything in your own strength and you do not take account into the things that should have happened to you that didn't happen to you. Cockiness completely disregards God's covering, even in our foolishness and in our crazy ways. And that is how I always differentiate somebody that is confident versus cocky. Do you know who gave you the ability to do what you do? And have you practiced enough to be confident? And have you put in the work that can back up whatever you are saying? Now, this one really got to me, and it was reflections on influence. In the third installment of his documentary, Awakening, there was a moment where he was in the car reflecting on his influence. And he said, in this season, I don't want to make any purposeful errors. And I think that that was so important because as we rise to a level of influence, because some of you all watching right now already know that you are made for greatness. It is already in the works. God is grooming you for the greatness that you will one day manifest. And some of you all already have a level of influence that is larger than the average person. And when you are in that space of influencing how people think in people's lives, that comes with the responsibility where you are held accountable for everything that you say, everything that you do to lead people astray or to lead them in the right direction. Maybe it's posting something that you know you shouldn't be posting, but you just feel like you want to post it because that's what people are liking and you want that notoriety, not thinking about the implications that come along with people seeing you in that way, in the message that you are inadvertently giving them. Maybe you are working in corporate America and somebody made you mad or pissed you off, so you decided not to do a process or not to do something to the best of your ability to get back at them, but your actions have ripple effects on the people who are under you. Maybe you know you shouldn't say that to that person because you're angry or you coming from a difficult place, but you say it anyway and you sow a seed of insecurity or you sow a seed that shouldn't be sown into their lives because you felt like you would feel better if you got back at them, and that's just not the case. Purposeful errors come in when you know you are supposed to be doing something and you have a level of influence where you are held accountable, and it doesn't have to be exterior influences. It can be the influences in your own home, and you know you should do something and you don't do it. Influence is not something that you need to take lightly or you need to play with. And if any of you have it currently right now or you will have it, just be mindful of everything that you do because you are going to be held accountable for it. It's heavy, I know. I felt the heaviness like, whoosh. And you know, people make mistakes. This does not disregard room to fail or room to fall. God is so gracious. I thank him because it doesn't matter how many times we mess up. He's always going to be there. But being mindful of the mistakes that you make, that's something internally that we need to deal with, because while God will forgive us, that will directly reflect how high he can take us. And that is your ability to learn from your mistakes. And one of the last points that I got from that is the importance of knowing your role. Now, I cannot say enough how Kanye's friend Coodie was just so loyal to him. The fact that he was able to hear God give him an assignment and start on a 20+ year project and continue it and be able to be faithful even when him and Kanye weren't on the best terms, but not letting that get in the way of him doing what God told him to do. That says so much about his character. And some of us are meant to be Kanye's and others are meant to be Coodies. And that's not even saying that both roles don't weigh the same, because without Coodie, we would not have this all-encompassing understanding of Kanye. This documentary will forever go down in history. And I was talking to one of my cousins, Teresa, because we talk literally almost every day, and we were watching the documentary together, and he said John the Baptist was to Jesus what Coodie is to Yeezus. And for all of my Bible lovers, when she said this, I literally sat back and said, dang! Like, even right now, it hit me. Just like John the Baptist, God gave Coodie an assignment to tell people about what was coming, or who was coming for that matter. And not just that, but to document 20 plus years of a testimony, because that's what this big thing is. It's a big testimony, because one day people like you and I were either going to need encouragement or not even know what we were going to need, but just turn it on thinking, okay, it'll be good. And automatically we start feeling different things because it hits different points in our life. Oftentimes we cannot even give ourselves fully to people because we're so worried about comparing ourselves to them, their success, or what they have. And being able to know your role will allow everybody to operate in their gifts without always having competition. Not once did Coodie try to be Kanye. Coodie knew behind the camera was his gift, and that was just his assignment for that season. And to everybody buying into an idea that you have to be in front of the camera on TV or the hottest thing on social media to make an impact and for God to be pleased with you and for you to live a fulfilling life, I just want to let you know that is a lie. You can live a fulfilling life as long as you do what you love and you allow God to guide your steps to be able to do that in different realms, guys. If jealousy was in Coodie's heart, he would not have been able to document Kanye, especially not after he started getting bigger. And because of his heart, he was able to do one of arguably the most meaningful and most profound pieces that anyone has ever done, and that would literally be one of the most prominent pieces of his life work. And I'm telling you, if you have people in your life around you that don't want anything from you other than just to be there for you, let them be there for you. Let them do that. And we need to start appreciating the people in our lives, the Coodies in our lives, the Dondas in our lives that are cheerleaders for us and that only want to see us succeed and that just want to help us with no strings attached. Because Coodie honestly made us fall in love with not just Kanye, but his mother too. When he started talking about Donda's passing, I literally felt and got emotional, because to see how sweet she was, to see how powerful she was, like sometimes it's not always being out in front of the camera. Sometimes it's being able and having the wisdom to know that the real influence is being able to influence the person that will influence the millions. And she had such a soft, calming presence and authority about her. The way she said Kanye's name, that was great, Kanye. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Kanye. You are the best son, Kanye. That just goes to show, no matter how big we get in our careers or what have you, everybody needs someone that believes in them and that will say you can do it. And if you don't have that, and if you haven't heard that today, I'm here to tell you, I believe in you and you can do it. And don't give up, because the work you are doing means more and will impact more people than you know. And Coodie putting this video together shows the importance of obedience, because if you are obedient, as the old saints used to say, it may not come when you want to, but it'll always come on time. He had to wait 20 plus years to see the fruit of his labor, but look where it is now, on Netflix. And that reason is the reason why God, fortunately, will not give us anything our heart is not ready for. Because if you fumble the bag, you're not just fumbling it for you, but you're fumbling it for everyone else attached to you as well. So with that being said, guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this documentary. Kanye, when you see this, because you will one day, I want to give you your flowers. I know that you're not a perfect person, but nobody is perfect. But you have done something amazing and have literally built something out of nothing. And I am so glad that you were able to be vulnerable and share your life with us. Coodie, your work is amazing. And I hope that God continues to shower you with the fruit as the result of the seeds that you planted in seasons where you didn't even know if it was going to yield any. And with that being said, I'm gonna go listen to College Dropout for the umpteenth time. So until the next time, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you later.